Now that we have all of our data associated with one another the way we like, we can now begin to symbolize it in a way that makes it easier to understand visually. So to do this, what we can use is symbology. To access the symbology toolbars, we can right-click the parcel culvert or any layer that we like and go down to Properties. Within our Properties panel, we can see that there's many different tabs, from Selection, how things are viewed when an item is selected, and the one we really want to focus on right now is symbology. Currently, our symbology is set to its features as a single symbol. And we can see that that image is here. We could click here and actually change this to a different color to then change what it would look like here. But for our case, we want to symbolize this. And for us, we want to symbolize each parcel based on its use. And so I clicked Category, and we want Unique Value. And then here I'm able to select the field in which I want to symbolize based on. Because when I looked at my attributes table, I know that present use PU cat description stands for is the category that I want everything to be kind of represented at the categories. And so once you select this, the important step then is to click Add All Values, and now that will add all the values that each one of these features represented with. We want to deselect this because we don't want to have any of these other values shown if they aren't associated with this data. And in the color ramp, we're actually able to select and change how this looks as well, and how these colors are organized. Selecting a color palette ideally is meant just as a first step prior to moving it into Illustrator, where there you will then change and edit these colors and manipulate it to a greater extent. In addition, you can, though manually, double click these in here and then edit the colors here as well. So what we see here is that one of these has no use associated with it, and if we wanted to get rid of that, we could click here, Remove, and then that would remove it from our representation. We can click Apply to see how that will look. We can then change this to a different color, maybe one that range. We can then click Apply again to see how it looks, and once again over here you can see this is then what easily you can see what is available to us in all of these categories. Another option which we have in the symbology tool is we can symbolize based on quantities. So if you had a numeric value, where this is primarily based on text values, but if you had numeric values that you want to have certain ranges, you could use that here. And we can do graduated colors. You can also do graduated symbols, and what is nice, it provides you a little example of what that could look like here. Proportional symbols. So what we can do here is, so maybe we want the lot square foot to be the value, and that's the middle symbol. We can just hit Apply. We can see what happens. And so let's hit Apply again. We can begin to change this around to then see how this is edited. Okay, so once you go to area from where it was radius half width, now what we can see is each parcel, since we're using the parcel culvert, has a dot on it associated scalarly based on its size. Unfortunately, this is not the most ideal which we want, but it offers an additional example to how you can kind of represent it. What we actually want is the graduated color. So once again, we want to go down to lot size. And here we can then categorize. I'll hit Apply. We can then begin to see all the different scales of the lots. This could be valuable if you had stream widths, or maybe certain, maybe had additional sets of data where the range of the numbers was very important, especially about the availability of land, the size of a building, and so forth. Currently, we can change all this from the color ramp here. We can change to edit the different color ramps which are available to us. Click Apply, and that will change the colors over here. You can also change in how it will be classified and the number of classifications. So we can increase that to have more classifications. If I click OK, then what you see happen is that more become here, click apply. So there becomes, the data then becomes changes based on that. You can also click in here and move and drag these elements as well to change these numbers to the right. And click OK, hit apply, and then that data will be changed. In addition, within this panel, we have the labels features panel. So I'm going to hit OK. And so now we have this. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to come to my building use, which has the data associated with it. And I'm going to right click. And I want all of these features to be labeled. So I can click right here. This is available for all features to label these features. And as you can see, it's labeled with one of the attributes within this data set. If I right click, go to properties, I can then go to the labels field in the properties and change what feature that label or how that feature is being labeled. So for here, I can go down to present use category description. I can hit apply. And now every single feature is being labeled based on that category. I can increase this text size if I want. I can change the font. We can edit this in many ways. I'm going to leave it at what it was. And so now you can see how we can begin to really represent a map and really begin to understand more critically an area's use, function within the watershed.